About 36,000 hectares of land is dedicated to coconut farming in Ghana. In Ghana, coconut is grown in tropical areas that experience both hot and cold climate. My name is Enyunam and welcome to the Ghanaian Farmer. Join us and get interactive through our social media platform on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube, the Ghanaian Farmer. Wherever you are, if you have any form of question about farming, being it crops, aquaculture, horticulture, any kind of farming, just get interactive on our social media platform. Today we are all the way in the eastern region, precisely Mipom, or the community is called what?
Yeah, Mipom and its environs.
So we are in Mipom and its environs.
Exactly.
And we are standing amidst over 50 acres of coconut farm. And remember this face? He is Samuel Hodo, the disappointed medical doctor who is now a coconut farmer. Now coming up is a highlight on coconut farming. When I come back, I'll be engaging Mr. Hodo more about coconut farming. He was telling me behind the scenes about you knowing the purpose for what you're growing. You just don't zoom into a particular crop just because these persons say, oh, it has high market demand. There has to be a purpose. We'll be back to delve more into coconut farming here in the eastern region. Stay tuned. Hybrid dwarf coconut farming provides more profit and resilient farming opportunities for the farming community. Commercial hybrid coconut farming is a very old and common business in some areas around the world. Many people are already doing this business and making good profit because both demand and value of coconut and its product are very high. Thanks for staying. If you just tuned in, you're watching the Ghanaian Farmer. And gone by was a profile highlighting on coconut farming here in the eastern region. My name once again is Enyunam and my guest is Mr. Samuel Hodo. You have seen a bit and pieces of his coconut village, but now we are in the farm itself. Mr. Hodo, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure is all mine.
Coconut farming.
Yeah.
And you have over 50 acres.
Sure,
Am I correct?
sure. Actually, where we are standing is 50 acres, but in total, because the farms are at separate, they are in total, I think, 162 acres.
Okay.
And recently, we've acquired 100 acres to add to that, making 262 acres.
Okay.
Yes. So, but for now, where we are is 50 acres.
Okay.
Yes.
The kind of coconut farm we find ourselves now,
Yeah.
what variety is this? Because this one are pretty long compared to what I saw at the village the other time.
Exactly. So this is a typical hybrid variety, a crossing between the Vanuatu and the Sri Lankan green dwarf.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
so, and it's 42 years now.
42 years old.
Yes, please.
You have been harvesting this farm for the past
let's say
42
subtract
years.
3 years from it. So
For
let's say
39.
Exactly.
Wow.
39 years.
And
now.
it's still standing.
And every month. Yeah, for coconut is the tree of life, so it never dies.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned that before I even grow my coconut, the land matters. Why? Isn't it good to grow anywhere?
Yeah, so foremost, before you grow the coconut, you have to look at the purpose for which you want to farm. The purpose will even guide you the type of land to use and where to site actually the farm.
Okay.
Yes. So assuming you want to use it for oil,
Right.
you go straightly the hybrid variety.
Okay.
You don't do the dwarf at all.
Okay.
Hybrid. Or the local variety.
Okay.
Local like the West African tall, Vanuatu tall, East Coast tall and all that. As in the tall ones you see. Because for those ones, they are the ones that can give you a lot of oil. Okay. The hybrid is an improvement of the local one. We cross the tall one with the dwarf, then we get the hybrid. That is why the hybrid is not so tall and it's not so short. So this is a 42-year-old farm.
Okay.
And look at the height. If it was the tall one, it's in the sky already.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
In that case, after I have identified my purpose, being it oil extraction or I want to produce cookies from it, what type of land or soil then do you recommend for planting coconut?
Okay, sure. So there are several of them. let's first look at sandy clay.
Okay.
It's good for coconut. Loamy clay is good for coconut. Loamy soil itself. And then there's another soil called laterite.
Right.
You also have the alluvial. The laterite is the one they use for building. Where people call it plastering sand or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So all these are good. But the lands that are not good are the clay, typical clay soils. Yeah. During the dry season, they crack and all that. Or typical sandy soil. Typical sandy, as a sandy, it can't retain any water. Yeah, that one too is not so good for coconut.
Okay.
But that is not to say if you plant it, it
It
wouldn't,
will not germinate.
germination it will come, you get the tree.
Okay.
But you wouldn't get any
Fruits.
enviable yield on the
Okay.
tree.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So when I have access to my land,
Yeah.
please take me through the land preparation. What goes into the land preparation before I even do the planting?
Okay, so as I said, you first look at the purpose, then you site your land,
Okay.
and you also look at accessibility to make things easier for you.
Okay.
Yes. So beyond that, you have to look at whether there's a presence of water around.
Okay.
So now let's go to the preparation. Now you've gotten your land. The land preparation too will depend on how the land is. Sometimes it's an already tilled land. Some of them you just have to clear the weeds on it. Okay. But for forest areas, you initially clear, and then after that you cut the trees. Then if you want to bend, when they are dried, you bend, and then you clear, as in the residues of the bent woods. You clear them, and then once you are done with that, you let the weeds come.
Okay.
You give it about 3 weeks for the weeds to germinate,
Right.
and then you spray. After spraying, then you do your pegging, your lining and pegging. Yes. So after the pegging, then you can do the planting. That is when there are rains.
Okay.
And normally it's best to do it during, like, on the onset of the rain. You don't do it when, assuming you are in June, July, you start before even, as soon as the rain starts,
comes.
then you start.
Okay.
You don't wait for the rains to be coming heavy before.
Okay.
Because the plant will need time to actually take roots. It will need time. So when you plant it during heavy rains, it suffers to take the roots.
All right. That's fine. My next question will be the planting materials, the
Yeah.
seeds
Yeah.
that you plant.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
something like this.
Yeah.
Where do you get these planting materials from?
Okay, so currently, because the Ghanaian coconut is diseased, we source all our seed product from Ivory Coast.
How do you mean it's diseased?
Okay, so taking this coconut for example, okay, you can't take a seed from this coconut because this is a hybrid. Okay, it's a hybrid, and this farm does not qualify as a seed garden. We have specialized seed garden we take seeds from. And for seed garden parameters, no coconut farm should be closer to your farm. That is one. Number two, the farm should be homogeneous. If it's Sri Lankan green dwarf seedling you are taking, seeds you are taking, the entire farm should be Sri Lankan green dwarf. You shouldn't add other dwarfs.
Okay.
If it's a hybrid, this farm is SZD versus VTT. If it's this farm that you are taking seeds from, it should all be that type, and they should be all of the same color.
Okay.
So if it's green, all should be green. If it's yellow, all should be yellow.
Okay.
So you can see, for what I've mentioned, this farm does not qualify to be a seed garden.
Okay.
That is one. And also, this farm, we have other coconut farms around. Even if it should qualify, then there shouldn't be any farm around about 100 meters.
Okay.
It should be 100 meters far away from this farm.
This farm.
Yes. And when I say our Ghanaian coconut is diseased,
Yes.
Ghana, Western region is our coconut hub. Okay? Most of them didn't plant the resistant coconut variety. So when you go there now, I can say for a fact that about 2/3 of the coconut is dead. 1/3 currently there is even struggling to survive. So when you go and take seeds from that side to plant, eventually going forward it's also going to be diseased.
Okay.
Yes.
In that case, how much do you buy one of this from Ivory Coast? Or let's assume if I'm cultivating this 50 acre, how many of these do I need and how much is one?
Okay, so normally when you do the landing pegging, is between, for the hybrid we're selling, is 75 plus or minus 5 per acre. 75. You're going to plant 75 seedlings.
Okay.
Yeah. So plus or minus 5 because I'm a science person. So always have to leave room for. Yeah. So let's do it. Every acre you need about 80.
Okay.
Yes. And in safer terms, when you convert it to Ghana, because every coast we use safer, is that it's already around 6 cities
Per one.
per one.
6 cedi.
Yes.
Per one.
Yeah. But when you bring it to Ghana and you nest, not all of them
Would germinate.
would germinate.
Okay.
Not all of them. So in Ghana, after we've done everything, we sell our hybrid seedlings for 15 cedis.
Okay.
But when you're coming and you're buying quantities, definitely we actually
reduce the price.
Exactly.
Okay. So do you buy the dry or the fresh one? For planting?
The dry one.
The dry one?
Yes.
Okay. And when it arrived in Ghana, under what temperature or condition should I keep it before I move it to my farm for planting?
Yeah, so normally we bring the seed nuts from Ivory Coast and then we come and nurse it into seedlings.
Okay.
Like the one you're seeing there. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So normally when you're planting, you don't plant the seed.
Okay.
You plant the seedlings.
Uh-huh.
So once we approve it for you, it shouldn't take more than 3 days, then you are done planting on your farm.
Okay. If it arrives in Ghana,
Yeah.
how long do you take to get the nursery done?
Oh, normally 3 months.
3 months?
Yes.
Okay.
When you nurse it, in the first month you see some shooting. Second month, others are following. So in the third month, most of them would have come.
Okay.
So in 4 months, those who have not come, we close down the nursery. We don't use it.
Okay.
Because those that does not come early too does not fruit early.
Okay. So in 3 months, then I can move it to the farm.
Exactly.
To come and plant now.
Exactly.
Okay. How deep should I dig the hole? And how many do you drop in one hole?
Okay, so depending on the method you want to plant it, because we have methods of planting.
Okay.
You have the direct method and you have the comprehensive method.
Okay.
So with the direct method, you look at the size of the seed, then you dig a proportionate hole,
Okay.
then you put it in there.
Okay.
But because I'm saying the stalk, where the
Yes, the shoots. Where it shoots from.
where it shoots from,
Yes.
that side you shouldn't bury it into the ground.
Okay.
It should just be at the level of the land.
Surface.
It should just be at the level.
Okay.
Because once you bury it and you cover that stalk, the coconut cannot breathe. It will suffocate to death. Yes.
All right.
That is the direct method.
Okay.
But for the comprehensive method, it's a whole method anyway.
Okay.
You dig about 2 feet hole. You lay down this coconut husks with a shell.
Mister, you are worrying me.
It's a whole lot of things.
No, now. You are worrying me.
Yes.
And then you said that
There's a comprehensive method.
that one is a bit complicated.
It's a bit complicated, but I can highlight it.
Okay, so
to
briefly
you.
highlight that
Yeah,
one.
so you dig about 2 feet hole, 2 feet wide and deep hole.
Okay.
Then you arrange coconut husks with the shell. When you go and buy coconut and you take the food out of it, that thing you throw away. We lay them on the ground. Let's say a hole will take about 6. After you've dug the 2 feet, you lay them on the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then you cover it with a bit of the dug out soil. The soil you actually dug out.
Okay.
You cover it. Okay. Then you bring pottery manure about 3 to 4 shovels on top. Then you bring another soil on top. And then you plant it on it like how you did the direct method.
I now understand why you are saying
Aha.
that one is seriously complicated. Okay.
But when you do it that way, you would have given the coconut a very firm foundation to live on.
Okay.
It will never die.
Right.
Even if it dies, and then if you need pack on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I realize that there are distance in between the coconuts.
Yeah.
What should be the specified distance in between each coconut plant to the other one?
Yeah. So there again, it also depends on the type of coconut you planted. If it's the dwarf, you can do. They have varieties that you can even plant 15 feet
Okay.
with a dwarf, between 15 to 22 feet. Okay, that is a dwarf. But if it's a hybrid, minimum is 24 feet.
Okay.
You may decide to even do 28 feet. Okay, but minimum is 24 by 24.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now we've prepared our land. We have our seedling. After 3 months, we've planted.
Yeah.
After planting,
Yeah.
till you start seeing it fruiting, how should I care for the trees?
Yes. So rule number 1, there should be no instance the weeds on the farm should be taller than the coconut you've planted.
I shouldn't allow the weeds grow taller.
Than the coconut
the
you have
coconut.
planted. There should be no instance. always the coconut should be above the wheat level.
Okay.
That is one. Manure it anytime there are rains. So for cement farms, what we do is twice in every year, during the onset of the major rains, we give it manure.
Okay.
During the onset of the minor rains, we give it manure. Cement farms, that's what they do. Other farms that do irrigation, they can decide to do fertilization every month. They can decide. But for us, currently, we don't do irrigation. So we look at the natural rains and then we do our manuring. Because manuring or fertilization comes with rains or water. Like you need water to dissolve the nutrient before the plant can take it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you do your manuring. And also, when there are insurgence of pest attack, because once you've planted the plant, it's also part of the ecological system. The insects will need to feed. So there are times the insects will come and feed on your coconut and all that. Some of them are good, some of them too are bad, like the rhinoceros beetle. Those ones can even retard the growth of the coconut. Okay. So anytime there's an insurgence like that, you have to spray with a pesticide. Yeah, and for the pesticide, we have the organic and the inorganic. Currently, we have an organic pesticide, and it's very good for that beetle. We call it bioeliminator.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, to control the weeds, is it a regular weeding or there are ways to actually control the weeds from overshadowing the plant?
Yeah, so the regular cutlass weeding is there.
Okay.
You can also use a slasher.
Okay.
You can use a weedicide, as in the chemical, as in, yeah. And also, I think basically, for now, those are the methods we have. But we also have a harrower, like a tractor mounted with some, so like that can also weed the farm.
Okay, so from the initial stage of the coconut till it starts fruiting, how often does it need water, or how much water does it need? And in the absence of water, can it still withstand and still grow and bear fruit? Sure.
Naturally, coconut comes with water. Okay, so the coconut will depend on that water when it doesn't have it. But when it relies on that water and that water finishes from the nut, and there's no external water or there are no rains, the coconut will die.
At what stage are we talking about here?
Okay, so let's say typical like the Ghanaian season. If it doesn't rain, major rainy season, minor rain, no rains, and you plant a seed, you don't water it, you don't give the external water, it will die.
Okay.
Because that water can be in the coconut for about 6 months to even 1 year. Okay.
Okay.
That is why coconut does not easily die.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. How long does it take coconut to mature and start producing fruit?
Yeah, so I'll speak for what we have.
Yes, please. Speak to your
The dwarf varieties we have. It takes 1.5 to 2.5 years.
Okay.
The hybrid varieties Salmon Farm has, it takes between 2.5 to 3.5 years.
Okay. 2.5 to 3.5 years.
Yeah, for the
then
hybrid.
It start fruiting
for
you to be harvested.
Exactly.
So how many times do you harvest finally when it's around that time?
Okay, so when it starts fruiting, once in every month we do harvesting.
Once in every month?
Yes, please.
And how
every
many...
month you get a bunch.
Okay.
Okay, every month you cut a bunch.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many tons are you likely for your first harvest? In case I have 50.
Okay, so I will not speak in tons, I will talk in quantities.
Okay.
Because by then we do not get into tons.
Right.
So we're talking of between 6 to 28 for the hybrid.
Okay.
But for the dwarf, we're talking of between 15 to even 50.
Okay.
The dwarf is crazy. It's a crazy yielder. Okay. Just that the size of the fruits are smaller.
Right.
But for the hybrid, the sizes are appreciable. So it doesn't want to bring plenty that it can't take by itself. So between 6 to 28. So
on
average,
each plant?
Yeah, on each plant.
Okay.
Per month.
Okay.
Yes. I'm saying that because some of the trees can give you even 40.
Okay.
Some can give you 15. Some can give you 9. That's in starting.
Okay.
So when you take the average, you can do it between 10 to 15 per tree per month.
And how long can I keep harvesting for? Because you have done 39 years already.
Yeah.
How long am I likely to harvest for?
The hybrid, we are looking at 30 years. No, the dwarf rather.
Yes.
We are looking at 30 years.
Okay.
But if you keep it very well, you do your manure and all that, maybe 40 years.
Okay. And the
hybrid, we are looking at 70 years.
Hey!
When you keep it very well, you check the weeds, everything, the plant is healthy, you are looking at 80 years.
Now, when you say about healthiness of the plant,
yes.
What do you want me to do? Because right now it is a mature woman, it can even marry.
Yeah.
And it's giving me babies. What care again do I need to give it?
there are times you have to revive the nutrients of the soil.
What do I do to revive?
Manuring, fertilizing.
Where do I pour it? Because look at this one for
Yeah.
instance.
So for coconut, you see where the branches actually, where it extends to.
Okay.
Okay. Wherever the branch extends to means the root is also at that side.
Okay.
So ideally, you manure in a circular form.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Please follow this carefully.
Yeah.
You are saying I look at the branches.
Yeah.
The extension of the branches.
Exactly.
And then I do the manuring around that cycle.
Exactly.
So
Ideally,
means
that's
the
what you're supposed to
root
do.
goes as far as that area.
Sure.
Wow.
Sure.
The root is not going straight. It is this way.
Yeah. It's this way. And it's all round.
Okay.
So you have to, ideally, you have to manure all round.
Okay.
Okay. But if you can't do that, you can take the middle of that extension and between the extension and the, let's say the stalk or the stem, then you do from the middle. Okay. Because this one will take a lesser manure than,
Okay, so let's look at the duration. Is it every year or every 5 years or every 2 years to be caring for my matured?
Ideally, you're supposed to do it twice in a year.
Twice in a year.
Ideally.
Okay.
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 Yes, and super ideally, you have to do soil testing to know the nutrients that are deficient.
Okay. So while the plant is still producing, I should still be doing.
Yeah, soil testing is something you have to do yearly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not done just once.
No. Before planting.
So those of you who want to.
And also yearly, you have to do it. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's expensive. So
Yes,
most farmers, we don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll not say others don't do it. We don't do it.
Okay.
It's very expensive.
Okay.
But for us, when the coconut even starts fruiting, we don't give it chemical fertilizers again.
Okay.
It's just the poultry manure.
Okay.
So it's a natural form of reviving the soil.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit of maths here, a bit of money issue.
Sure.
How many workers do you employ to work on this 50 acre?
50 acre. For now, where it is now, I have only one worker.
Only one worker who comes around to supervise?
He takes care of the farm. He's more like a caretaker.
How about during harvest?
So that if someone is coming to harvest, he will oversee that the person is not selling from me.
Okay, so harvesting, do you bring a lot of people or the one buying comes to?
Yes. So for coconuts, if you want to harvest to sell, that is your problem.
Okay.
But if we are selling fresh, the person who comes to buy it does his own harvesting, does his own collection as an aggregation, and does his own counting. What do you have to do is just witness the counting, so that they don't count 2 for 1.
Wait. If I have this 50 acre coconut farm, and I'm about to sell to a client, there are 2 ways to this.
Yes, you may want to do the all the harvesting, collection,
sorting.
all that. But at the end of the day, instead of 2 cedis, you can sell for 250.
Okay.
But if you want to sell for, let's say, 2 cedis, like we are selling now, the person will do his own thing.
The client will come in with his own workers.
Exactly.
They will harvest
and
separate big from small.
Yes.
And count.
Yeah.
Then they will sell.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why? Does it come with cost if you do your own harvesting and do the sorting, and when the client come with his own workers? Is that
it comes with extra cost. Okay.
For who? You or the client?
It comes
if
the person who is doing that.
If you're the farmer, you're the one harvesting.
Yes, it comes with extra cost.
You have to hire a lot of people.
Yeah, for at least for the quantities the person is taking.
Okay.
And it comes with extra cost. Okay.
Okay.
That is why when you are selling and you have harvested, you also sell extra.
Okay. How much is one coconut sold?
For this farm, it's 2 cedis.
2 cedis
Yes,
per
please.
one?
Yes.
From the tree?
Yes, please.
Okay.
But when you are doing your own harvesting, as in if the farmer is harvesting to sell, it's 2 cedis, 50 pesos.
Okay. All right, so averagely, tell me, how much am I making if I should, next month, for instance, if I harvest? Roughly, give me a rough estimate, because the money matter.
Okay, so this farm in particular, we don't get less than 30,000 every month. This farm.
For each harvest?
Yeah, for each harvest.
Every month, 30K?
Yes. And it takes almost about 2 weeks to finish the harvesting.
2 weeks?
Yes. You see, it depends on the buyers.
Okay.
Sometimes the buyer will come, he can't take all the fruits. So another person will come. So it's more like in batches.
Right.
This one will come and take his own, another person will come. And 50 acres is not a joke, you know. So
All right.
people, and you would have to climb. So yeah, it's a very
Now, there is this myth, I don't know if it's myth or truth.
Okay.
We're about to wrap up the interview,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
Coconuts.
Yeah.
Do I invest just once or I keep investing along the way? I mean,
Okay.
my land, my seeds, labor, input. Is it one-time investment or you keep doing as you go?
Okay. So you asked the question. When you are starting, you need a lot of people. Okay.
Okay.
But when it starts fruiting, you just need one person to take care of the farm. From there, I don't know what you want to do. When it's time for maybe clearing of the weed, we engage laborers to come and do it.
Okay.
And that one is just twice in a year.
Oh, okay.
Just twice in a year.
They'll pass by and they do the
Exactly,
clearing
twice in
of
a
the
year.
land. Okay.
And the manuring is what may come with extra cost.
Oh, okay.
But for manuring, it's not compulsory. Even if you don't manure, the coconut will still come. Just that when you manure, you get a lot done if you don't manure.
Okay.
So
Finally,
I
right.
see it's just a one-time cost. It's initially that you spend a lot, but going forward even what you are getting is far more than what you have spent. Far more than. You just use 1 month money to do everything, all the labor work.
Okay.
The rest is for you
Okay.
and your girlfriend to enjoy.
That part. And your girlfriend to enjoy. Okay.
Yeah.
So, coconut.
Yeah.
The harvesting time. Do you suggest that I leave it on the tree till there's a client and then we harvest and sell, or I can harvest and keep them down and waiting for a client? Which is which?
Okay, so if there's no person to buy it, okay, leave them on the tree for them to dry.
Okay.
And that is what we do, so that we process the dry ones.
Okay.
But when it's fresh and you harvest, and there's no one coming, it will spoil.
How long will it stay for before it starts?
Oh, normally, variably, let's look at 3 weeks to 4 weeks.
It will, the water.
But those who send it to Accra there, even if it's 1 month, they find a way of selling it.
So the water we are drinking Accra is not fresh. Oh.
You
Okay.
see,
Now,
Yeah.
dry coconut versus fresh coconut, which is more expensive or profitable?
okay, so from experience, I would say the dry is more profitable.
Than the fresh.
Yeah. The dry is more profitable because once you are able to add value to it, you determine your price.
Okay.
Because you do all your costing and then, okay, then let me add this margin to it.
No, but is there a market that buys the dry one without me processing? I just want to dry
Yeah,
mine
there's a
and
huge
sell.
market.
There's a market that
A
buys
huge
it.
market.
Okay.
What I was talking about was processing. You let it dry and process.
Okay.
But if you are selling just dry,
Yes.
then it's just the same as the fresh one.
Okay. Okay.
You are just dehusking and then
Right.
that one is just like, almost like the fresh one.
Okay.
Because a lot of things will go into the dehusking too.
Right.
You also pay for the dehusking.
Okay.
Then you sell a bit higher than the fresh. So it's almost it's the same thing.
Okay.
But if you process that one, you determine your price.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Ghanaian farmer. My name is Enyonam and my guest, Mr. Samuel Hodo. He's the CEO of Summer Coconut Farm and he has over 100 acres of coconut farm. The hybrid and the dwarf. You kept hearing him mention dwarf. So we'll try and get you images of the dwarfs to mix with the hybrid. But today I'm sure that you've gotten another, information when it's come to coconut farming. So that it would help you build yourself whilst you're making that plans of zooming into coconut farming. My name is Anyonam. If you have further questions, you can actually share it on our YouTube channel, The Ghanaian Farm. If you have a farm and you want us to visit your farm, promote the farming you're doing, your activities and marketing, you can also reach out to us on 0554 830431. It comes at a cost, please. I don't do free production. My name is Enyonam. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you next week. Until then, it's a bye for now.